Well, good evening and welcome back here. After a week off, we are back to the playoffs here in Speed Racing Network. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Nick Halda, as always, here on Tuesday nights. And Nick, you can see it in the background. We're not in Kansas anymore, which is where they were at last week. We're here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, and these boys are going to have their hands full trying to fight this bull here tonight.
Nothing like starting off the playoffs and heading out to Austria. Sure the guys didn't see that curveball coming. And see who's been practicing, who's ready to get the playoffs started.
Yeah, I think it's been a track that a lot of people have been looking forward to for, a big majority of the season until, they're under that cut line and having to make up a lot of points to maybe make their way into that round of 10 here in the playoffs. But we'll see what these boys got. They've had 2 weeks to get this setup finely tuned, and we got our own setup made specially by Majors Garage. So got to give them a quick shout out, and we'll see how these boys handle it here tonight. So let's give you an update on those point standings. Got to apologize. We had a little bit of issues here, family emergency last week, so unfortunately we were not able to broadcast the Buttkicker Cup Series race at Kansas. I'll give you the top 10 from last week's race. Joseph Causey came away with the win in the first race of the playoffs here in the Cup Series. Latham runner-up, Scott Healy in third, Emerson Ardon with a fourth-place finish, Reese Schaefer in fifth, Adrian Schumacher there sixth, Ryan Johnson seventh, Brad Herman came home eighth, Brian McAvoy in ninth, and Aaron Gerwitz rounded out the top 10. And you can see it right there. Scott Healy in ninth is our playoff lucky dog, and he's already slotted in here above that cut line, 7 points to the good, but still a tight race there for him and Johan Seminario, two Yellow Stripe Motorsports drivers. Brian McAvoy, Aaron Gerwitz, Randy Nichols, Robert Norfleet, and Brandon Domain all trying to make up some ground here.
Yeah, you've got a few drivers here. I mean, 3, 4, 5 points are just off the cut line. So definitely a chance to see some big moving and shaking at that cut line tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're looking for 16 drivers, Ed Shearer just quit the league. So he is no longer a part of the Buttkicker Series Championship playoffs here. So only 15 drivers here in this first round. And let's check out those team standings while we're at it here. We got just under 2 minutes before we get this thing kicked off here in Austria. The Week 14 results: JW Racing edging out Phoenix ever so slightly, 76-73. Gear Up taking down Rat Pack, 106-60. Yellow Stripe getting that win, 97-53. And Tank, well, they scored the most points last week with the bye, and that shook things up a little bit and also sealed the deal for Tank Racing. They're locked in there in the green, and I'm pretty much told by Sean Griffith that Gear Up is locked up there in the 2 seed too. I don't think anybody able to catch them. I believe Gear Up still has a bye week in the books before we get to that Week 18 best of 3 matchup between the top 2 teams. Phoenix Virtual Racing, they've locked up the 3 seed, so they'll be in that 3-4 matchup. So pretty much JW Racing and Yellow Stripe Motorsports going to settle it for that 4th spot.
Just a couple of just 2 points back there for Yellow Stripes. So still a chance to get in that 4th spot, and it's a nice race for something there.
Yeah, so they've had a good run here lately with Scott Healy and Johan Seminario putting down some good finishes. JW Racing going to have their hands full tonight. So before we get on out there, let's check out those Week 15 matchups. In, well, Yellow Stripe going to have a tough matchup here this week with Gear Up. That's your 12-2 team going up against the 6-8 Yellow Stripe Motorsports. Phoenix Virtual Racing, they got a tough one going up against the number 1 seed right now, Tank Racing. JW going up against Bobby Anderson Racing. And Rat Pack, the last place team here in the league, well, they're going to move on to be 4-11 after tonight. So with a tough course like Red Bull Ring, I'm sure that is a welcomed sight for them. So let's go ahead, give a quick shout out as always here on the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series to, well, Buttkicker for coming back on board here this season. As always, can't thank them enough for coming back. As always, they've been here every season for Speed Racing Network. They got the best gear out there. If you're looking to try and immerse yourself even more into the sim here, go ahead and check them out at thebuttkicker.com. A great product if you're into iRacing, which pretty much all of us are. And also got to give a quick shout out, and I mean, this is pretty relevant right now, Nick. It is tax time, so go ahead and check out Silverback Tax Solutions. If you have any issues with the IRS, these are your people. There's the number right there, 662-996-4357. Also, can check out silverbacktax.com SRNButtkicker.com. Those are your tax experts, and they will get you fixed up and feeling good, and maybe get you a little money too at the same time. And got to give another shout out, the last one before we head on out there, to TJ's Team Foundation. Go ahead, please check them out at morethan-a-cape.org. It's a foundation that helps out families that are battling and dealing with pediatric cancer. A wonderful foundation and a wonderful partner here at Speed Racing Network. And what do you say, Nick, before we get this thing all gridded up, we go ahead and take a look at these race payouts?
That's what it's all about, the money.
Absolutely. So let's see what these guys are racing for here with just 5 weeks left here in the season. Kind of crazy to think about that. We all know the weekly payouts here. $30 going to the winner, 20 to runner-up, and 10 if you finish in 3rd through 5th. But money on the right, that's what we're racing for now. We've got the field set for the playoffs, and that champion going to come away with $500. That's not too bad here as spring break approaches. It'd be a nice little trip money, huh?
Absolutely. And for those drivers, step 1 complete, get into that final 16, now final 15 drivers, and then you start, sensing that, oh man, I'm really that close to $500.
Yeah, it feels good. I can say, I've finished in that second category, and even the 300 feels pretty good. I mean, really, at the end of the day, we're playing a video game here, so that's some good money when you really think about it. So these guys are going to be battling it out here tonight, and looks like the grid is just about all set up, and the pace car about to head on out to take them around. They're going to about start on about the midway point of this track, and Nick and I are going to apologize here early on. We don't know much about this track. We don't know all the lingo, the turns, and all that stuff. I don't even know how many turns are at this track, Nick, but we're going to sort it out. We got 45 laps to do so.
I know they go left and they go right, and we know that that's probably bodes well for about 5 or 6 drivers that we know pretty well here. Seminario, Casey, Causey, just some of the ones quickly off the top of my head as we get ready to look at the starting grid.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because they're starting in the top 3. I didn't get to the starting grid in time, but there you can see it on the top. It's actually the left side of your screen. Schumacher, he's going to start on the pole here tonight. Joseph Causey in 2nd, Reese Schaefer 3rd, Johan Seminario in 4th. It looks like Emerson Ardon is going to be in that 5th place position here tonight. So the pace car is off just like that, and we're going to see that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring.
And we have 13 of the top 14 drivers are all playoff drivers. As you see the yellow stripe across the front.
Causey.
Trouble early.
Yeah, he's well off the
The
pace.
field. Yeah, it stacks up the field, and they're getting spread out there. Norfleet, Causey, Herman, Gerwitz look like they kind of dropped back out of that lead pack a little bit.
The sharp,
big developments early for a lot of playoff drivers.
Yeah, this is going to be the sharpest turn you're going to see here on the track, and seeing a few more people maybe locking it up here. Michael Politis, he's got some trouble. He's falling off the pace a little bit. You see Joseph Causey going on by there, but out in front, Adrian Schumacher off to a great start. He's already got about 5 car lengths over his teammate Reese Schaefer, who started 3rd here. He's up 1 spot.
And it looks like Schumacher was the only one of all the top, 14, 15 drivers to really break away from their trouble early clean. So that's already put him some almost second and a half in front of the field, but Schaefer is cutting that down quickly.
So seeing what other battles we got going on. Nichols right on the bumper of Johan Seminario here. That's a very tricky part of this track. I've run a GT3 race here before, and it is hard to get through that portion of the track. Very slick. And when the sun's beating down on this track, it's hard to get through it.
Yeah, these cars definitely don't handle like a touring car does one thing on a road course. A cup car does something completely different. I'm always just in awe of some of these guys who just wheel these things around.
So just like that, we've got a lap in the books here. No surprise, Adrian Schumacher leading the way. Look how spread out it's gotten after that first lap. Joseph Causey, who started up front, he's trying to make up some ground. He's working on Ryan Johnson right now. Maybe make a move to the inside as they approach that sharp right-hander coming up here.
Quick right-hander, he's going to set him up on the inside, see if he can dive down. Almost tries to get 2 spots going through that corner.
Yeah, I'm seeing that term is called the Remus turn. So we're going to get it down here. Pretty much SDK helping me out with all the turn names here in Austria because not very familiar with it, but nonetheless a beautiful track. Very fun track, so if you're not really racing in the playoffs, you're just out here having a good time. And these cars are really well, and the setup from Major's Garage, I haven't heard many complaints, so that's always a good sign.
Absolutely. I think these guys are obviously comfortable with it. We're seeing them get really racy here early. And something to mention, since we did miss the broadcast last week, notice the playoff drivers have the yellow kind of window stripe across the front that denotes a playoff driver. And you can see the majority of this front pack all coming through with that yellow window stripe.
And you could see on all of the different angles that we have here, the elevation changes. This is a very tricky turn here where you're carrying a lot of speed through that first right-hander, have to hit the brakes going downhill, not to kind of cut the course. If you hit that little yellow cone right there, they will get you and book you for cutting the course too. So you got to be careful where you're picking your spots and hitting these apexes. A very tricky track to try and hit all your marks.
And we've seen at various tracks, even what elevation changes has done to these Cup cars in the past, it just really unsettles them. And coming into a braking zone, you'd rather be braking uphill than downhill, and you'd rather be accelerating downhill than uphill. So kind of a tricky setup there for that corner.
Yeah, so as we see Adrian Schumacher pull out to an early 1.8 second lead over his teammate Reese Schaefer, the only non-playoff driver here. Emerson Ardon sitting there in 8th, and he was one position away from making that playoff lucky dog run at Kansas. Scott Healy edging him out there, finishing 3rd at Kansas, a former champion here at Speed Racing Network. So tough break for Emerson, coming home in 4th and unfortunately not making the playoffs. This is the turn I'm watching right here, though. Very easy to lose your car around this. I don't know what they call it, and I think it's about turn 5 or 6, Nick.
Turn 5 and 6, definitely kind of a sweeping corner there. You don't want to get throttle control is going to be key. You don't want to get under throttle too soon, slide that rear end out. A lot of these guys seem to be kind of content riding around here a little bit, maybe saving their stuff. We saw a lot of brakes lock up early, so you don't want to flat spot the tires, and it'll just get worse and worse in every corner for the rest of the race until the next the first round of pit stop. So these guys kind of setting the pace right now, trying to figure out what corners they may be a little bit better than their fellow competitors in, and all just trying to get a feel for being out on the track. It's one thing to be out on the track this large with maybe 4 or 5 of your teammates. It's a completely other thing to be on a full course and try to figure out passing zones and everything else.
Here, Aaron Gerwin's going really down the gears there and winding that motor up big time. He is the lowest running playoff driver right now, sitting there in 20th place, and you can see the field just pulling away from him. Knowing Aaron, I know he is not a big fan of road courses, so it's one thing to not like the original courses we have in the NASCAR circuit. It's another thing to just throw a totally different one here at you. So he's going to have a learning curve here with 40 laps to go already. Johan Seminario still under attack here. Randy Nichols, this is the best battle on the track. He's going to take a peek to the inside.
Yeah, Johan there was a little squirrely coming off that corner, and you can even see in this daylight how bright red his rear brake rotors got, showing how hard he's getting on those brakes, trying to hold them off, just able to do so.
So coming up over the hill, you can see Lane Hostler coming into the picture now, trying to get up here and battle with these boys, and just behind them you got Joseph Causey too, making up a lot of ground here after that early incident with him on that first turn. Here's the onboard cam here with Joseph, and you can see they're not too far out in front of him here, just one position away from getting back in the top 5.
And all it takes is for a couple of those guys to get side by side through a tight corner, and you can see a lot of brake dust there. So somebody overdrove the corner there. That was Nichols possibly. And you see that because these guys are getting a little bit bigger. You've got to make sure that you're not doing the same thing and over pushing it. Just let those guys, you see they're getting racy up there. Get up to them as fast as you can, but you don't want to overdrive the corner yourself.
This is the toughest turn right here. You have to woe the car way down, but look at the ground he just made up right there. I mean, he made up a few car lengths, so really he's going to be to the bumper of Lane Hostler. I feel like in about a lap or so, he is really nailing these braking zones.
Yeah, you see Lane locking him up in that corner. Looks like Nichols possibly was drifted a little wide as well. We're gonna have a nice little 4-car pack here in just a few corners, I think.
Yeah, I don't think they want to see this 88 coming up here in their rear view mirrors, because they have a nice battle going on right now, and he doesn't want to battle. He wants to get on by here in this 88. So we're going to have a battle here in the next lap or so. He's on the door of the 61.
And for Causey, I mean, this is something that we've seen throughout the season where, or I wouldn't say trouble, but, kind of getting shuffled back early in a race is something he's had. A lot of the road courses, he's been able to battle back for second and stuff, but he always says he's so frustrated with some of that early setback, not being able to catch the leader. So, he's like thinking, oh man, here we go again. He's going to want to drive real hard to get up to those leaders. Here he comes now. He's going to be on the back door Nichols. As Hosler saw him coming and said, I'm going to let him go here and try to not sacrifice too much time.
Yeah, Hosler wanted none of it. He said, you go ahead. You can tell you're clearly faster. He's probably one of the fastest cars on the track right now. Not seeing many people closing that gap on Adrian Schumacher, but if you look at that delta there on the scoring tower there, Joseph Causey is catching him, but he's got a long way to go, sitting 7.5 seconds back.
Yeah, 7.5 seconds and several cars to pass, so that's going to open up that gap just a little bit more before you finally get some clean traffic. And for Hosler, probably a smart move. I mean, Berger's sitting back there some 3 seconds. Last thing you want to do is, if you stick out that much faster, you're probably going to lose a spot. Don't make it 2 spots and give Berger a big chance to get a big run on you as well. These guys are going to race ahead of you a little bit to try to stay with this pack, and as they shuffle through, maybe you can find a way back around.
Yeah, so Nichols really doesn't want to give up the position here, but he's got a mirror full of Causey. He sees Johan Seminario out the front windshield, so he's going to be trying to make up that ground, to make up that 3rd position, to maybe get a podium here, but he's got a long way to go to hold off this 88 that looks really, really hungry right now. So right now, the best battle on the track is on your screen as they come back to cross the start-finish line and start lap 7 for this pack here.
Yeah, for Johan, he sees him coming as well. He's kind of stepped out a little bit further ahead of Nichols. Nichols is, probably driving a lot through that rearview mirror right now, wondering where Causey's going to try to make his move.
Watching out the rearview mirror here, this is what it looks like on the rear bumper of Randy Nichols' number 42 machine, and look at the ground that Causey's going to make up right here. Just really gets in here nicely, almost gets into the back of him. That might be enough. Yeah,
he had to lock him up just a little bit, but there's something he's figured out. I don't know if it's
must be brake bias or something.
It's got to be brake bias or possibly his shift points, and he's using a lot of engine downshift. But he is driving, some. If you're looking at those markers there on the side of the track, he's almost driving some 50, two markers deeper than the rest of the competition on just that one corner alone.
Yeah, for those that don't know, if you add more brake bias, it kind of makes the turns a little bit easier in the sense that the brakes won't lock up as much on you. It requires a little more braking distance, but it makes it a lot more smoother, and that's just kind of what I'm seeing right now. He is not locking up the tires at all. It looks really smooth in that 88. He's going to make a pass here, maybe pick up 2 spots on this lap, going by Johan Seminario right now. Yeah, Randy Nichols really overshoots that turn, and there he goes.
And you can see how hard these guys are getting on the brakes again. I mean, in daylight, it almost looks like a night race with those calibers getting so hot that we can see them so visibly, even in the daylight. And like you mentioned, the higher the brake bias, the less those tires want to lock up, the less power is going to the rear of the car, the lighter portion of the vehicle. So it'll take a little bit longer to slow up. I'm wondering if he's almost using a lower brake bias and is just figured out that sweet spot, right, where he's able to get that car woed up, but just not lock him up.
So we'll sit here for a minute and just watch the whole field come through. There's Aaron Gerwitz, the last car on the track, as he's coming through turn number 1. And hey, you sit out there a while, you're going to have some people make some mistakes. That's pretty much what I think Aaron Gerwitz is hoping for at this point. Not much he can do as far as the speed goes in that number 9 machine.
Yeah, it's frustrating when you're in the playoffs and you're in the track that you're struggling at or whatever, but still a lot of racing to go. So finish as high as you can and just do what you can. That's all you can really do.
Here's our leader, Adrian Schumacher, and no surprise, we knew he would be a strong contender here tonight, and well, he's already out to a 4-second lead over his Tank Racing teammates, and he's putting a little bit of distance over Joseph Causey now too. He stretched that out to 9 seconds. So really, virtually nobody on the track closing ground on this 82 as he comes back to complete lap 8 to start lap number 9, and quickly ticking these things off. It's going to be a quick one here tonight.
And look how hard he's driving. He is not content with this 4.5 second lead. He is trying to push this thing out. You know, you think 4.5 seconds, all right, let me just go ahead and kind of hold it here and hold it smooth. But you saw that thing wobbling side to side on him under that last braking zone. He is throwing this thing into the corner, kind of getting a little bit more of a slip angle, if you will, kind of drifting the car through some of these corners. I think that's where he's gaining a lot of speed versus by some of the competitors. But what's that doing for the tires on the long run? Are these guys going to be able to maybe catch him here, you know, at the end of this stage?
See on that first that right-hander there, I mean, both of these, you're getting to below 50 miles an hour. That's a lot of braking here to get these cars turning. Typically you run the GT3 cars or anything about, you know, in the IMSA class or category, you can kind of get through this course a lot quicker, but these stock cars are really tricky to get around here. You got to be careful and just pretty much act like you're walking on ice almost around this thing, but you wouldn't be able to tell that by the way Adrian Schumacher's getting around here right now.
No, real smooth. They're swatting a lot of flies. You don't see that wheel bouncing left and right a whole bunch. Just keeping a real smooth wheel. These cars on road courses, it gets broke a little bit loose on them there. It's just so much throttle control is what it's all about. Like how easily can you get the car wound up with the brakes and not just get on throttle and want to slide it out and just gain every inch of the track that you can. You see him kind of getting out to that spot here on the rumble strips, getting as wide as you can, making this wide as you can to barely cut that corner, and you know, a good wide exit as well.
Yep, making it look easy out there in that 82, and that's a lap on board around the Red Bull Ring. It's not that big of a circuit, even though it kind of feels like it. You get through here pretty quickly, and he's making it look real easy now, out to about a 5.5 second lead over Reese Schaefer. So we'll see if Causey can catch up to his teammate Reese Schaefer there in second right now. It seems like we don't really have anybody close to each other. Ryan Johnson right here with Seth Berger, and looks like Emerson Ardon back there. That's the pink car, so he's in a little bit of a different looking ride here this week in that 57. This is the closest battle right here for 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Yeah, 8th, 9th, and 10th look a little bit close. Looks like Nichols and Hosler are kind of possibly battling there for 4th and 5th, so really kind of the mid-pack of the top 10 is where most of the action is right now.
You see the glow of the rotors. I love that detail here in iRacing because they are hard on the brakes around a lot of these braking zones, and you're going to see that quite a bit. Almost wish we could race here at night, but unfortunately no lights here. You got to have headlights, and well, we know that's not the case when it comes to NASCAR. Now maybe in a few years, now that we got that Le Mans car, Garage 56, coming out here to run Le Mans 24 hours, that'll be a pretty cool sight to see with headlights and rear taillights on a NASCAR stock car. That'll be something to see.
Oh yeah, headlights, taillights. You know, the Dale Jr. podcast had a couple of interviews with Jimmy Johnson checking out, talking about some of the different changes they made to the car. If you get a chance to read about those, listen to that. It's going to be pretty interesting to see NASCAR, a version of a NASCAR Cup car, I should say.
Yeah. It looks pretty cool, I'm not going to lie. And you know what? Good for them for trying to branch out and get out into a different type of style of racing. And NASCAR is fully backed Team Hendrick, and they put it together quickly, and they're going to do it this year. So we'll see how they do. Unfortunately, these guys don't have as probably a good handling a car as that car is, but still, it's getting it done here. Wow, big moment there. Johnson almost spinning it out there. Emerson Ardon right on the bumper, but they stay going here and maintain their positions for the time being. It looks like Emerson wanting to pick up some spots. He's lost 5 already after starting 5th. He's down to 10th. Wants to get up here with his Tank Racing boys.
Yeah, when you know you're the first guy out of the playoffs, you almost have that little, you know, you want to show that I really should have been there, and you know you're lucky I'm not in here, and kind of set the tone for next year, right? It doesn't mean if you felt like you should be there, you want to show everybody you should be in the playoffs, and just kind of finish strong and still set a good tone for next year.
Yeah, and Emerson's always been kind of strong here on road courses, so we'll keep an eye on his progress. Here's that battle you mentioned. 4th right now, Nichols and Hosler. Seminario falling back to 6th place now. So he's had a little bit of trouble here in the last couple of laps. You can see him a little bit back further on in the distance there in that pink machine, but he is going to have his work cut out for him if he's going to try and make his way back into the top 3, where, I mean, before too long ago, he was up there, and now he's 15, 16 seconds back of Schumacher. So tough night so far.
While we're looking at kind of the rear bumper out of Nichols, it seemed like Seminario kind of had maybe a couple of turns that he kind of overdrove a little bit, locked up the tires, might have gotten him really hot and mad. Just got to kind of cool him down and let him kind of settle back in a little bit before he tries to make another run.
So let's refresh you guys here on the way the points stand. Coming into this week, Causey, well, after his win last week, he is pretty much going to clinch a spot in the round of 10 next week with the way he's running in a small field that we got here today. We pretty much solidify his spot over there. Schaefer currently running second. He's going to clinch a spot here if that thing holds up in P number 2. Timothy Latham, though, he is out there. He's in P14. I was worried Timothy Latham didn't make the show here tonight, but there's Timothy Latham in third place in the standings, currently running 14th here tonight. So he's just hanging on for the time being. He is likely going to be able to clinch his spot in the round of 10. I think we're going to get about 5-6 cars that are going to clinch their spot in the round of 10 after this week, and it's going to be a 4-car battle trying to hold on to that top 10 spot.
Yeah, so if you're someone like Nichols, you're sitting there, 5 points below the cut line, you're probably fighting for, 5 spots. You see him out here trying to get to every spot he can. He's in a good position right now for 4th, and then at the top of the list too, Schumacher's got a chance here to maybe jump Latham and get up into 3rd.
Yeah, so a lot of these guys, only 22 cars in the field. They pretty much knew that, worst case scenario, they were going to be able to move on to the next round. That takes a little bit of pressure off, but a lot of these other guys having to make up points and have to do it here at the Red Bull Ring. They are trying everything, so we'll keep an eye on their progress throughout the night. But before we do that, we're going to step aside and run a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today, and maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
There you see Matthew Dula had a little bit of a hairy moment there going into turn 1 on this lap, but he hangs on to it, battling with Timothy Latham for that 15th place position. further up front, Adrian Schumacher, well, he's in a different zip code. 8 seconds ahead of second.
It just keeps growing and growing and growing. I will never know what that feels like on a road course. It's got to be a good feeling, though.
It's just in any race in general, that's got to be a good feeling. Typically, the races that I've won, it's been Daytona where it was by 1,000th of a second, or Kansas or Texas where I just, pretty much had to pay for coaching and it helped out big time. So I never won by 8 seconds though, and I'm excited to see actually how far he can do it. He's put some pretty big gaps here on the field at road courses so far, and maybe he'll set a record here tonight, only a third of the way through. Up to 9 seconds.
I was about to say, if our memory serves, I thought 9 seconds was around the record. We might have to go into the archives and dig that up here in the next couple laps.
Yeah, I mean, he has nothing to worry about. It's going to be a 2-stop race from what I understand too. So, being that we are at the 1/3 of the way mark done here, as he completed lap 15. Might start to see pit road picking up here. See one already on there. That's Danny Dow, who didn't even take the first lap. He's already parked there. Blair Holloman also never turning a lap here tonight either. So that's your 21st, 22nd place cars. 20 cars currently on the track, and Aaron Gerwitz is in the back there. Seeing Brandon Domain has already made his first stop. He pitted on lap 11. Emerson Ardon coming down here in his W number 57. So right on cue.
Yeah, some of these guys from the back trying to maybe short pit the leader a little bit, see if they can't gain any time on some of these guys around them. Want to see how it shuffles out.
I'm not too sure where Brandon was before coming down his Sandwich Man Racing Sports memorabilia machine, and that 20 machine, making his first playoff appearance here in SRN since he was in the trucks back in season 1. So he's trying desperately. Talked to him a little bit before the race, and he's a little bit dejected with the small field. He needed some cars here tonight to make up some more points. But hey, I said, a win will help. So we'll see if he can get it done.
Hey, Brandon, at least you show that one co-host can at least make the playoffs. So, that should make you feel better.
Hey, I started week 6, man. Don't give me too much.
I said co-host, not host.
Oh, okay. All right.
I said co-host.
All right. No, he's had a great season, and that was the main goal. So everything else now is just icing on the top here for the 20 machine. And, I know he's turned a lot of laps here, and he likes the way this car feels here in Austria. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does.
Yeah, I'm sure as we move up through the field a little bit, and we see Schaefer and Causey are now on pit lane. Schumacher staying out still.
Yeah, he's not worried. He's going to go ahead and get those fresh tires and see if he can make up some ground on these guys and maybe put even more distance between those two. And it's kind of a weird pit stall you see. You don't see pit stalls, as typically when you come here, those garages with the doors closed are your pit stalls. So quick pit stops. Seeing fuel only for these guys, and I thought that might be the case for a lot of guys here tonight, and they did just that. Only 6-7 second pit stop there for these two.
And not only is it not like a true-looking NASCAR-type pit stop, but you're also pulling off to the right instead of the usual diving off to the left into your quote-unquote pit stall.
It's all jacked up here. That's kind of the fun of it. We've run tracks that we don't typically see. We ran Twin Ring Motegi in season 3 last season, and we liked it so much. They brought it back for another season here. So the schedule makers decided to do the same thing with road courses. Go ahead and put the Red Bull ring on the circuit here this year, and everybody was excited for it. I think until now, once we're out there, and it is grueling to say the least, but we'll see how it shakes out here. Adrian Schumacher coming down pit road this time.
Here comes our leader as he pulls in the 18-second lead on Hostler. And going back to your comments about moving the cars around in places you don't see, I mean, that's what we have the advantage for iRacing to do, right? It's kind of the iRacing effect. It's kind of why we have Garage 56 heading over to Le Mans, because if we can do it on iRacing, it's introducing people to a different style of racing, a different track of racing, and that's kind of one of the benefits of the sim. Getting there, throw a car on the track somewhere and go around and have some fun. So why not do it in the league as well?
Yeah, why not? So you see how easy it was there. Schumacher also taking fuel only here, 9.5 second pit stop. So seeing a bunch of different times here. A few guys in the back opting to take tires. You see Latham, Dula, Kalal, Domain Politis and Johnson all taking about 14 to 15 second pit stops. And you got the leaders only taking fuel only, so it'll be curious to see how this shakes out. And from what I heard, the tire wear not too severe here, but you would think otherwise with how much sliding around they're doing on this circuit.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that. As hard as these braking zones are, and isn't more tire wear.
So nearing the halfway mark, Schumacher no longer in the lead. That's going to go out to Randy Nichols now, who is out in front, but yet to make his first stop of the night. He's going to be coming around to that pit entry here before too long. But kind of the funny thing about it, Schumacher only 5 seconds back of our leader.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you pull off, you're on a road course and come out only 5 seconds behind the leader. That's insane. And look at Nichols locking him up hard. I mean, as much as we've seen some of these guys, and I used to pulling into the pits out there so hard on the brakes, but as much brake smoke and tire smoke as we've seen, I'm surprised we don't see more guys taking tires. And we've got a car around to the 85.
Yep, Brad Herman, one of our playoff drivers, back in 16th now. He just lost about 4 positions with that, and has Latham coming up here too to maybe go on by. So Brad Herman struggling here tonight. Not typically known for a road course ace, but I believe he has a road course win in the Truck Series this year, so he can get around these things. So that just goes to show how difficult this course is. So one of our Gear Up drivers, 2 of them right there actually, Gear Up might be in trouble here this week.
Yeah, see, this is not a Gear Up. I believe he's going against a yellow stripe, right? Not a good feeling when you know of all the tracks you don't want to go up against yellow stripe on a road course.
Yeah, and only 2 drivers out there for Yellow Stripe too, Seminario and Healy, though. So, but they're having a good day so far. So even with 2 drivers being scored and 3 being scored for Gear Up, still a chance for those guys at YSM. So we'll keep an eye on Yellow Stripe Motorsports against Gear Up. Seeing Johan Seminario might be in some trouble right now too. He went off the course a little bit, comes right back on though, no problem here as they enter the DRS zone. Maybe that's something that's coming to NASCAR here in the future, get a little bit of DRS.
I wonder if some of these guys are starting to regret not taking tires.
I don't know, but they must have practiced that strategy somewhat, because you don't just do that thinking, hey, it's going to work and stick. So we'll see whether it works or not, whether the strategy of getting tires works or not. So it's looking like Brandon Domain making up some ground so far. He's one of the first drivers to come down pit road. He actually was the first driver to come down on lap 11. He's up to 13th. When we last checked on him, he was back in 19th, so he's made up a few spots.
And it's one thing to practice, again, you know, against your teammates, stuff like that, and how did you do 2 full fuel runs. And racing with your teammates at practice, kind of know each other. You got here with 18 other drivers, and some of the early action we saw, it's a different pace. It's a different braking zone, so you're probably driving a little bit harder, and what looked like maybe a good decision at practice may not be so much of a good decision here under live fire race conditions.
Yeah, that usually is not the best feeling when your strategy goes a little bit awry and doesn't work out for you, but still a lot of time here. Not even halfway done with this thing here as we ride on board Brandon Domain's number 20 machine.
A lot of brake dust coming around this corner here, so somebody else was locking them up, barely able to stay on. It's also a bad feeling when you go around a kind of a blind corner like that and you see a whole bunch of brake smoke or tire smoke come up. You don't know if the guy's sideways come off or if he actually gets through the corner.
So he's trying to make up some ground here. That's Politis just in front of him. Politis, who had a little bit of trouble early on this race, has made his way back up to P number 12 after starting 15th here tonight. So far so good for the driver of the 6, who just missed out on the playoffs. If you ask me, that's one of the more surprising drivers that didn't make it in. He seemed like he was in that top 15 all year long, and at the end of the regular season, he just couldn't clinch it.
Yeah, it looks like Politis has got a little bit of better drive off on these corners right now. The main's able to kind of drive it in as deep and rotate the corner, but it's really looking like the drive off the corners is where Politis is able to get on throttle a little bit better, a little bit faster.
Something else I'm seeing too, which is kind of interesting, watching one of our drivers right here, another Gear Up driver, 56 of Rob Norfleet. At least on my SDK scoring, it has not shown him coming down the pit road yet. So I didn't know if they could make it halfway on one stop, but he's getting close to that point here as we've hit that 25 to go. You see that hashtag go faster come on out here. If he can split this into one stop, that could be really beneficial for the driver of the 56 right now.
You know, seeing on courses like this with like kind of long straightaways and everything, see where guys will keep it in fourth or keep it in third. They won't maybe go down to second on some of these corner accelerations, and they're able to save some fuel. And if it's close, why not? Especially on a road course, why not try something different? You know, if you do the same thing the leaders are going to do, and you're 10 seconds back, you're just going to stay 10 seconds back. So might as well take a big swing at it.
Well, that's Nichols out there in the sand. So he has taken a trip out to the kitty litter and lost a lot of ground here. One of our drivers driving in the top 5 who is behind that cut line, losing some very valuable spots. Ryan Johnson almost taking a turn back there too. So almost a treacherous lap here for JW Racing.
Yeah, you see these guys sliding all over, and Nichols, kind of what I was speaking to earlier, we saw he was in that kind of 4-car pack racing with Schumacher, kind of battled Causey there for a little while, and Seminario. So again, maybe his experience here in the race was a little bit different than what it was in practice, and he's just fighting some old tires that he didn't expect to be as dicey as they're proving to be right now. I believe that was that Norfleet that we just saw dive down in the pits. Yep.
So he is going to be the last one to make his stop here. Doing it on lap 21, so not going to be able to make that one-stop strategy, I don't think, and he's going to go ahead and take tires as you see the left side come up, and now he's going to take right sides. And Sean Griffith and I talking a little bit behind the scenes, a little bit surprised here. Is Tank Racing the only ones to not take tires? Me and Brandon talked about it last night. He didn't want me to spill the beans, thinking that nobody else might be keen on it. He knew he could get through here with not taking tires, but still opting to do so, and a lot of the field opting to do so. Tank Racing, however, not.
Yeah, listen, that's proving out to work for him right now. So the different strategies, and it's kind of interesting to see just one team kind of take that strategy, and then for Nichols, kind of ran the fuel down to where, might as well take 4 tires, because obviously it ran the fuel all the way down, where some of these other guys, taking only 6 seconds of fuel, they might have only had time for, right sides or only left sides only. And on a road course, it's not as beneficial as it would be in an oval course to take only one side.
And it's just almost like, why not take tires if you're Adrian Schumacher with the lead he's got? His teammate Joseph Causey, however, is kind of closing that gap here. So we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the numbers if I can get it done here. See just how much that 88 is running down his teammate there in the 82. Let's see the times. There you can see he cut down a half second on lap 21 and another 0.2 almost lap 22. Causey, the faster car right now. Both of them not taking tires. Causey maybe taking a little less fuel. Might be the reason that car's a little lighter right now. So that 88, not counting them out just yet, but it's going to be tough to run down that 82 here. 7 seconds being the gap.
Like I said, Causey's kind of been in this position all year long in these road courses where early trouble kind of shoveling back into the field. Then he had a big gap to try to catch up. Hasn't been able to do it. He's been frustrated in some of the post-race interviews about that. They kind of fell back so far. He wasn't able to make it up, so he's going to push as hard as he can to try to finally be able to say he caught the leader at one of these road course races.
So there you see, look at the consistency right there. Schumacher, the last 2 laps, he ran a 132.955 and then just ran 9,000ths quicker there. That's just ridiculous. That's almost like bracket racing and drag racing to put down almost identical times on laps. So he's not even really pushing it right now. So maybe that's the reason why we're seeing that 88 kind of run him down a little bit. He is not pushing it, just hitting his marks and putting down pretty much mirror lap times at last.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing's gonna mess him up is himself, right? So just no reason to push it. Even backing it off, it's only been a couple of tenths, and that's not gonna. You're not gonna make that 7-second differential in 22 laps, just making up tenths at a time.
So there you see with the track map just how spread out this field is so far. Schumacher's lapped 3 drivers, Scott Kalal, Justin Rideout, and Aaron Gerwitz all a lap down. So Phoenix Virtual Racing having a little bit of a struggle here this week. Their highest running driver going to be Brandon Domain, currently up in 12th, and you got Kalal and Gerwitz back there in 18th and 20th. But like I said, they've already clinched that 3 seed. They're just waiting to see who they're going to be taking on for that 4 seed battle. So we'll see who can sort it out between JW Racing as well as Yellow Stripe Motorsports. Yellow Stripe looks really strong here tonight with Johan and Scott Healy up in 4th place and 7th place, respectively.
And look at that track map. I'm wondering if Schumacher just didn't see that there's a pack of 4, 5, 6 cars ahead of him and figures why get up there and get that mess and potentially get into some trouble when he can easily just back off, because it looks like that pack ahead of him is kind of opened up that gap a little bit. Having such a big lead, he can just kind of sit back and let those guys race and give himself plenty of room in case something happens.
Well, I mean, while we've got the field spread out, we could just sit here. This is one of the best seats in the house. I mean, you look at the mountains out here. I was telling you in the pre-race, this is one of my tracks, not even a track. This is one of the countries I really want to visit. Austria is just absolutely beautiful here. And you know what? Why not go to the Red Bull Ring? Maybe I could turn a few laps. I've seen the Red Bull Ring like classes here on the signs going by. I might have to sign up for one of those if I do take a trip.
If you get over there, you better get on this track. Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe I'll go over for the F1 race here and just watch Verstappen just clean the field here as Red Bull usually does. They better show up for the race that is pretty much sponsored by their namesake.
Absolutely. When the track is named after the same company you're racing for, yeah, you better show up.
So we'll see if they can get that done. It's kind of odd hearing that the Red Bull team is going to go to Ford here. Whoa! Schumacher getting a little loose there. They're going to Ford in a few years. That was kind of a head scratcher for me, but we'll see if Red Bull can get it done. Not sure how many F1 fans we got out there, but I am pretty excited to get out to Bahrain and get that season started off. And I'm excited for the new season of Drive to Survive too. I love everything about F1. It's great.
That Drive to Survive series, it was awesome. It brought me into it because I casual F1, just kind of watch every now and then. They did a great job of not just being other drivers, but of the different team, and just kind of gave you a little bit more incentive to follow along.
Yeah, I mean, it really gives you all the behind-the-scenes stuff that you don't see, and then you go and well, that's concerning for Adrian Schumacher, our laner. He's already taken a few blinks here, which he's done in the past. So maybe a little bit of hope for Schumacher, Causey after all, but it kind of leads you into the behind-the-scenes stuff, which you can see taking place even more once you get out to the track here. And this is clearly one of the best circuits on the F1 circuit, if you ask me. Going to the Red Bull Ring here, and yeah, I'm excited to see that F1 season kick off. Maybe we can get our own Drive to Survive here in SRN.
There we go. Drive to Survive and our own Radioactive. We'll just combine the best of some of the social media, the additional content that's out there for all of racing. Speaking of heating up, it looks like possibly we got a battle going on here between Hosler and Seminario. For a second there, Hosler was right on the bumpers of Seminario.
He sure is, and someone out there in the chat being a little bit demanding. Make sure you use your manners out there, Double D. Say please next time, fool. This is your battle here, the 12 and the 61 going head-to-head.
Definitely the tightest battle looks like so far, at least definitely the top 10, with 9 of our playoff drivers sitting in the top 10. And these two are going at it. We saw Seminario kind of slowing off the pace a little bit, but now kind of picking it up here towards the later stages of the race.
Yeah, this is a good battle, and don't forget Emerson Ardon and Scott Healy, also a close battle too. That's your battle for 6th and 7th, but we'll stay right here. Johan putting the gap here, so we'll go back a little bit further. There's Emerson, and there is Scott Healy just behind him. The two that went nose to tail at Kansas for the playoff lucky dog. You know Emerson wants some vengeance here.
Absolutely, he's going to hold him back and try to hold up every point he can on Healy.
So making that new look number 57 W machine. It's got to be some kind of pink lemonade flavor. If that's not a pink lemonade flavor, I need to talk to W.
Bright pink, you want to stand out, it looks good.
It does look good. You see W come into a lot of the sport here, sponsoring a lot of drivers out there, so that's always super cool to see them come on board and really just help out a lot of these guys here on the sim. And who doesn't love sponsors, man, especially when the cars are looking that good and looking that fast. We saw Arnon fall back to about 10th or so. He's really picked up the pace here lately.
Oh, gets him real deep, barely able to hold on. Just barely able to hold on, and Healy almost looked like he wanted to make a move there, but wasn't sure how wide Ardon was really going to end up slipping out of that corner. They have lap traffic, I believe, is that Justin right out ahead.
So Schumacher, yep. And he's just going to come down for fuel only again here. So like I said, Brandon had kind of hinted to me that you can get away with doing that. And Schumacher is going to do just that. He's going to make 2 stops for fuel only. Brandon told me after a full run here, the worst tire was the left rear. What do you think that tire was at, Nick?
They're going full run here, and that was the worst. It had to be at minimum high 80s, I think maybe 88.
Yeah, 89% he said. So, I mean, just crazy to see the lack of tire wear here at this circuit. So a lot of guys taking note. Johan, well, he hasn't gotten the memo. He's taking tires again here on that 12 machine.
I just figure he's got to do something to maybe hope that Schumacher is going to be just a little bit slower, but it's almost like Schumacher knew exactly what pace or what tempo to run to pull this off, because his lap times have just been so consistent that it's almost like from start to finish, you know, as long as I maintain this pace, I can maintain it the whole race and not feel any real bad fall off the last 10 laps.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising too. You consider the fact that you come out here on cold tires, it is not a good feeling here for a lap or two. So if you go ahead and just bypass getting tires, you don't have to worry about getting the tire pressures up and getting the heat back in those tires. You got the same ones on. It's pretty much smooth sailing. And yeah, kind of surprised to see a lot of these guys not picking up on this.
Yeah, you would think after the first round they would maybe see what was going on, but also you see when we're in the in-car, Schumacher's so much smoother on the wheel. You know, some guys can pull that off, and some guys just won't be able to keep the pace up enough, and they may just be burning off the tires just that much more, to where those tires are getting down so low that they're losing too much time at the back half of the stint.
So right now our leader is going to be Joseph Causey here, who started in second here this evening and had a little bit of an issue there on the very first turn of the race, fell back to about 10th and quickly made his way back up into the top 3 and eventually second place. And well, we'll see what kind of strategy he's able to pull off. I don't think there is any shot that he can make it the rest of the way, so he's going to have to come down pit road. Schumacher just 13.5 seconds back. I think this is going to be a battle for second between Schaefer and Causey.
That's what it looks like it's kind of shaping up to be, and I think Causey right now trying to run as long as he can out here, so just barely kind of a splash and go is probably what he's going to look to do. I'd be surprised to see him take tires here coming in now.
So he's going to bring it down. I got to love that he has Pikachu on the side of his car. I have to ask him about that. If we're going to be talking to this man after this race here tonight, personally, Nick, I don't know if you know this about me. I love Pokemon. I have no shame. I'm a 33-year-old man. You can make fun of me all you want. I got to ask him why he's got Pikachu on the side right now, because right now it's making that car lightning fast. Did you like what I did there?
Sure. I have no reference for Pikachu. That one, I totally missed that one, man. No reference. The only reference I have for Pikachu is Smash Brothers. That's the only reference I have for
that's
Pikachu.
Enough. You know enough. One of the harder characters to use in Smash Brothers, I'm not going to lie. So if you use him, kudos to you. But, man, now I'm looking over at my N64 and wanting to fire that up while this race is going on, because we've still got 16 laps to go, and, man, that is an awesome game.
Yeah,
the nostalgia.
That's right. Bring it back to some of the old games. So some of us old console players, before these PCs took over.
Yeah, we got a lot of downtime, so I'll go ahead and explain to you. It's kind of stupid how much money I've spent on N64 games, because they have completely held their value. And Super Smash Brothers still runs for a solid $50 if you get an actual legit copy of it. So, like I said, don't judge me too much here, Nick. They don't pay me that much, but enough to get these games and waste my money on them.
It's not a waste. I've got a 9-year-old, and I was My plan was to make him start with the regular Nintendo and then work his way up so he can appreciate, what he has now. So I get it. If you want to fire up GoldenEye on that 64, just let me know.
Hey, man, they just put GoldenEye on the Switch, so we're getting way off track here. But I'm all for it. I can talk video games all day, considering we are actually playing one right now. But right now, this battle here, Ryan Johnson coming off pit road and being thrown right into the thick of it. 3-car battle heading into this sharp right-hander. Something's got to give here, and Norfleet's going to let him have it.
Yeah, Norfleet tried to back up that corner a little bit and get a better exit off, but just ended up right on the bumper of Johnson as he's coming out on those cold tires like we talked about, so he's going to be a little bit slippery coming through.
So Emerson Ardon going to pit from 5th place after he's made a good run up through the field. I've seen that 9 machine of Aaron Gerwitz on pit road there. You see him right there in the Silverback car. He's been on there for 5.5 minutes. Not sure what's happened as you see Emerson kind of overshoot the stall a little bit. It's just got to be hard for these guys with no lines, no reference for where your stall is. Got to be careful, and he's going to lose a little bit of time there, but shouldn't hurt him too much.
No, I think he's going to kind of cycle out here. Looks like 8th, and, Healy's going to come up on him here in a little bit, but I think he'll be able to get back up to speed and get the tires warmed up.
Yeah, you see Healy coming over the hill right there. So he's got a pretty decent gap between him and that 64 machine. Looks like got a few more drivers coming down pit road. Timothy Latham coming down. Brad Herman, he's also coming down. So a few gear up guys. And Matt Dula also coming down out of JW Racing. And, well, why not go to the leader, too? Reese Schaefer making his final stop of the night.
And now we'll see Schumacher come around and pass these guys as they're on pit road. Could have a good little battle coming off of pit road here, though, depending on the strategy on some of these guys.
Yeah, so just like that, Schumacher gets back out in front. Pretty much the same distance between him and Causey, 7.5 seconds between him and the 88 machine. So Lane Hostler is going to cycle out to 3rd. He has yet to make his final stop here, but yeah, you can see all these guys coming off pit road. Behind him, Brad Herman, Timothy Latham, Matt Dula all coming down. All those guys are a lap down here, so the field thinning out as far as lead lap cars go, and it's pretty much hard to get that lap back here when you have no shot at a caution at road courses.
Nope, yeah, we're going to go green the whole way, and especially when you got a leader that shows no sign of stepping out or making
no mercy.
Any mistake. Yeah, no mercy, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to be realistic, if we had cautions here, Nick, we would be here all night long. So unfortunately, the admins have to put it in the rule book that no full course cautions, none of them at all here. We used to have the halfway rule, kind of a stage last season, but wasn't a lot of fans of it as far as the drivers go, and they nixed that rule here coming into season 4. So we stay green the whole time. Kind of wonder if people regret that now that Adrian Schumacher's back here for season 4.
Yeah, you see these guys that are kind of road course dominant, at least at the halfway point, you at least had a chance to try to jumble back up and see what happens. But, we got guys like Schumacher out here. Causey's been strong all year. Schaefer. Domain locks him up hard.
Yeah, he was already in the wall, and just like that, the car gets back around on him again. Tough night for the 20 machine as he now goes a lap down back there in 14, so that's going to leave 13 cars left on the lead lap.
I believe the next one to possibly go a lap down will look like Ryan Johnson, possibly.
Yep, it's the 43 car out in front of him there, just a few hundred yards out in front of this 82 machine, so Schumacher doesn't really have too much to worry about. You can see on the track map, has plenty of distance behind him, between him and the 88 machine, and behind him, Lane Hostler has a mirror full of guys with a lot fresher tires. Latham just now getting by him, and that's Brandon Domain, who we just saw with the incident a little while ago. But Hostler really stretching this thing out in the 61.
Yeah, trying to do a little bit different strategy, stretch out those tires, stretch out that fuel, see how long you can keep it on the track and hold up on these positions. But it's a bad feeling when you start seeing guys coming up a lot faster.
Eye on him. A few other guys, Randy Nichols, Seth Berger, have yet to make their stop. Drew Ballesteros, haven't really said his name too much here tonight. He's running 11th, also yet to make his final stop of the night here in the 44 machine. So we'll step aside here, run our final commercial break of the evening with 12 laps to go here for the European 120.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
With the Buttkicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Buttkicker, the future is feeling.
Back out here in Austria at the Red Bull Ring, riding on board 82 machine of Adrian Schumacher. The gap shrinking though between him and his teammate Joseph Causey's trying to make some noise here, maybe trying to use these lap cars to his advantage. It's down to 6 seconds between the 82 and the 88.
Yeah, but just as it's clicking down, so are those laps with 11 laps or so. It'll be a big feat for Causey. I'd be really impressed if you pulled that one off.
Great battle for fifth here. Emerson currently holding that fifth position, but Scott Healy's gotten there now, and Randy Nichols, who we saw go off the track a few laps ago, he's trying to get back into the top 5 as they've got 10 laps to go in the European 120. So we'll see if Emerson is able to hang on here. It's a tough battle right now for him. He is trying to hang on over Healy, who is a former champion here in the SRN Cup Series.
Yeah, look at the pace these three guys have through these corners. It looks pretty equal right now for these guys, so it's going to be a tough spot to try to pick your zone to make the pass. These cars look pretty even right now. Should be a good race these next few corners.
So Emerson, who started in fifth, currently in fifth place. Healy up 2 spots from where he began the night in 8th, but wants one more as he gets a good run off this final turn coming to the start finish line. It's a drag race.
It'll have the advantage to the inside. It'll drive it in deep. And it's still getting a little bit of pressure on that outside. Not able to get out wide on the corner exit, but still able to make the pass. I think that corner exit was going to really slow Vardon yet, allowed Nichols to get around as well.
Yeah, typically you see people just give that up and try to get the run off the corner. That really hurt Vardon right there, and he ended up losing 2 positions because of it. So now he falls back to 7th. Healy in the top 5 position after making his way into the playoffs. He is going to be feeling like he's got a good points night in store, and in 9th place coming into this week, that's a good feeling to help build some gap between him and that cut line.
Yep, and it looks like Berger and Seminari also look like they're knocking off some time here, catching Ardon as well.
Yeah, there's a look at Berger. Haven't seen him too much in the Flood Brothers number 77 Chevrolet there out of Tank Racing. So he is just having a very quiet night, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You know, that's a good thing when you're here in the playoffs and not making up too much noise for the wrong reason. 77 should be able to move more smoothly move into the round of 10. So if he keeps this thing headed right and not out in the kitty litter like we've seen a few of these guys here tonight, he is going to be moving on that Burghart's machine.
Like you said, a quiet night's a good night on a road course. You know, no reason to be sitting out there, you know, out in the kitty litter or spun around or anything like that. Knowing where you are in the playoff chase and just kind of survive and advance to the next round.
A bit further on back, Brandon Domain trying to hang on here. That's Timothy Latham just behind him. Brandon Domain in 14th. That's Reese Schaefer in front of him. That's our third place driver, so he is a lap ahead. Right now, Brandon trying to hang on to every point he possibly can here. And Garrett needs a little help too. Yellow Stripe's still having a good night with Scott Haley in 5th. Johan Seminario in 9th, their highest running driver for Garrett, Michael Blightus in 10th place. So they're trying to pick up every point that they can get here. So a lot of points trying to be had here as we narrow down the laps to go, down to 8 here at the Red Bull Ring.
And Latham's getting a lot in that rearview mirror. Hoping to just kind of make, look in the rearview mirror, miss your corner entry just a little bit, give him just enough to make a move.
See this man have a little bit of trouble here tonight. That's Justin Rideout, who we've seen him off the track here a couple times, but he is just out here for points for his team here tonight, JW Racing, trying to lock up that 4th seed to go for that third place battle in the team standings. And if I know anything about your team over there at JW, you guys take a lot of pride in those team standings.
Absolutely, that's kind of the goal for everybody. All the individual drivers obviously want to do well, but I think we take more pride almost in the team accomplishments than we do the individual accomplishments.
Absolutely, I've said that from the get-go since getting into the trucks. Obviously there was a slight chance that I could have made the playoffs and almost did, but I told my teammates from day one, I'm in it for the team standings. I love the new format, going head-to-head with teams every week. You know who you're going up against. You get that win, and it just helps you out. It makes you feel good. It's almost like fantasy football. You get that win, and, it feels pretty good. You move on. You start to see, like, hey, we got a shot to go into the team standings and maybe contend for a team championship. Makes you feel even better when you guys put together probably the best team out there on the track.
And it's always a good feeling when you know you're on a team with a good team with a lot of good, strong drivers. No matter where you finish in your night, if you were able to be one of those top 3 drivers for your team scoring team points for that night, it's always a good feeling.
Well, that's the first time I've seen 2 tires here tonight. Drew Ballesteros with the right sides only for the 44 machine, so he's going to be off and running. Missing the playoffs. Still very surprised to see Drew Ballesteros, who in his Xfinity career has had a very solid run, but in his rookie season up here in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series, struggling and missing the playoffs. So he is currently back there at P number 13. Right now, Schumacher looking to put down one of those JW drivers a lap down. That's Ryan Johnson in front of him in the 43.
So, not yet another driver. You got to get close to maybe put this top 10. Getting in the top 10, putting 10 guys down. Yeah, it looks like he might have a chance.
Yeah, Johnson's 11, so.
Yeah, and then Politis is just up there, 13 seconds ahead with 7 laps to go. He might put the 10th place driver a lap down.
This has got to be an odd feeling for Ryan Johnson, who's usually one of the faster drivers out there. He's going to be going a lap down on speed before too long because, let's be honest, Schumacher probably setting him up here to go by on the front stretch here, coming back to the start-finish line. He's going to really cut this corner and get a good run off, and I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. Maybe Ryan Johnson just lets him go.
Yeah, Rana battling there a little bit to stay on the lead lap, but I think once Schumacher shows his cards here, nope, he's going to decides better of it, and we'll follow him through the corner.
So Johnson just hanging on for pride, essentially. He's going to let him go on by here. The 82 going to put that 43 down. The 43 thinks better of it. As far as battling our leader, you don't want to mess him up at all. You don't want to be that guy, so he lets him go on by. And that's going to leave us with 10 drivers left on the lead lap, and the next one being that 6 machine, who is well out in front of the 82. So I think we're going to see 10 drivers finishing on the lead lap here with 6 laps to go.
Looks like our tightest battle might be back in that 5th, 6th range with Healy and Nichols. Nichols is 2 seconds behind Healy. Brandon Main right here battling Ballesteros.
That's a tough spot to pass right there. He overshoots it, and Ballesteros gets back by him. You can see how Brandon's just trying to get every point he can get here. Trying to make quick work of the 44, but overshoots his entry there. He's going to find another spot to set him up.
Yeah, kind of reset, get your spots back, and you see Drew's kind of struggling over driving himself a little bit, locking him up going into that corner.
So here's Seth Berger running in 8th place. He's got Johan Seminario. It's kind of crazy to see Seminario fall off the pace as much as he has. He's back in 9th now, trying to run down Berger here.
Yeah, something happened, and he was battling up there with 4th, 5th, and just kind of fell off, and just hasn't been able to recoup and regain positions.
Speaking of recouping positions, impressed by the 42, who we saw fall back to about 10th place after going off track. He's up to 6th now, and running down Scott Healy. Maybe going to have a shot at a top 5 at the end of the day, which would be huge for Nichols, who came into the playoffs with a lot of momentum, but not having the first week he wanted at Kansas. Sits 5 points back of that cut line, and finishing in the top 5 would certainly help your case heading into next week. And speaking of next week, let's see what that race is going to be here. Make sure you stop back by. It's the Hollywood 180. So these guys are going to head on out to Fontana. Tricky 2-mile oval here that just shreds your tires.
Yeah, it's different lines, and tire management is huge. But what a strong run for the 42 and also really the 88. I mean, both those guys involved in that big kind of check-up shuffle early, both losing big positions and able to recover. They probably, of all the drivers we saw get involved in there, they've been the ones to kind of gain the most positions back, causing you getting all the way back up to 2nd. Now it's just 5 seconds behind you.
Yeah, and I have to imagine when we talk to Kazi afterwards, he is going to be, I won't say upset, he'll be frustrated a little bit, but he'll laugh about it. And he's going to know that he would have had something for this 82, because right now he's been faster this whole last inning. Ryan Johnson taking a spin back there.
Oh, he's able to save it and whip it back around, keep all 4 tires on the asphalt. We see him, go around backwards on parade laps. We don't, not supposed to do that with 4 laps to go.
It's typically, not a good thing, but hey, he doesn't lose any spots, so no harm, no foul, and he still maintains that 11th place finish or position right now. Rob Norfleet coming down here, the only driver on pit road. He's making his final stop of the night. Little quick splash to go. He was the one trying to make it a one-stop race, and having to come down with 4 laps to go. Quick splash, only on pit road for 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, so he'll try to get out here and maybe catch Herman, stay ahead of Dula for that 16th spot.
So back out in front, this is your leader, Adrian Schumacher, and he's got a healthy distance in front of him with no cars in sight. That's what you want when you're the driver of the 82 machine, and just been leading every lap of the race here so far. He's looking good, looks good out back, and why not look out front too? Pretty clear.
Pretty clear, it's pretty consistent. I mean, we could kind of cut up and replay these laps, and you wouldn't know what was the first lap, what was the 22nd lap, what was the 16th lap. It's consistent, hitting spot after spot going through all these corners.
Yeah, this is textbook apexes here. You just don't see him ever missing it as he takes another blink there. As we quickly went to the blimp, and he's taking another one. So maybe we look at another car, as he's having a little bit of connection issues so far.
Yeah, it looks like Healy and Nichols are still a second differential there. You got Berger and Seminario 8th and 9th. They look to be the closest of the top 10 cars for sure.
Be kind of interesting to look at the field from up in the blimp. They almost look like little ants up here with how much spread out they are. You can see them all over the circuit, and it's over the course of 45 laps. That really separates everybody out there as you see them go around the old Red Bull there in the center of the track. So
And even in the blimp view, I mean, look at this elevation change you can just even pick up coming up that crest there. That's something, you know, these drivers aren't used to. Not a lot of American road courses. You know, Coda's got a little bit of an elevation change, I guess, at one spot, but not consistently throughout the course like this too.
Yeah, I would say the closest you're going to have is Sonoma as far as the elevation changes go, but that track's a whole different monster. You got a much wider circuit here with the speeds that a lot of the cars will carry. You know, there's no shot at F1 ever racing at Sonoma with how narrow that circuit is, but kind of helps you out a little bit with the elevation and have a little more room to dance around in these cars when they're going uphill and downhill.
Yeah, it's just amazing how just the different types of cars, how they perform on the road course and getting you around. It's like you're talking about before, racing a GT car versus getting one of these cup cars. They just feel so heavy. They don't want to rotate, and then all of a sudden they'll over-rotate on you. It's just such a fine line to get these cars around the track. It's impressive to see the top guys are able to do it just consistently.
Well, don't watch the race tomorrow because it's going to be an absolute handful for the trucks at Mid-Ohio. I was telling you about that. I was like, man, I don't know if you ever turn any laps at Mid-Ohio, but, man, it is almost like skating on ice. So that's going to be a fun one tomorrow for those guys. So you thought these guys had it rough in the playoffs. Well, truckers are going to have it tomorrow, too, in the TJ's Team Foundation Truck Series. They will be out at the Mid-Ohio sports car course, I should say. And to say the least, I mean, I got some speed out there, Nick, but I'm not looking forward to it.
It's never fun going in a track where you're like, yeah, I just got to try to keep it on the track. Like when it's like Darlington, right? You got to race the track just as much, if not more, than you do your opponents.
Yeah, I found a new track that I hate the most, and it's going to be Mid-Ohio. So we'll see how that goes. Luckily, I don't really have much to lose. I don't have to worry about playoffs. I'm out there having fun tomorrow, kicking it up with the boys. And you can ask my teammates. I like to keep it a little bit light and just kind of keep everybody's tension off, you know, crack a few jokes here and there, Nick. So I'll be doing that probably while spinning out through a few of the turns. But one man not spinning out is Adrian Schumacher, seeing the white flag. 1 lap to go in the European 120.
Look at this, so 5 seconds over his teammate and 27 seconds ahead of third.
Yeah, so kudos to Causey. That's almost like a win if you're within even like 10 seconds of this guy. But I know it's going to eat away at him knowing that he had the speed to match Adrian Schumacher, but that first incident really chalking it up for him. You can see Causey back there. He's in the same shot as the 82.
It's got to feel like Groundhog Day for Causey, just a little bit. So frustrating, but you know, still coming out with a second place and knowing that you're going to advance to the next round. I'll make this just a little bit easier. And
it's still not over. I mean, the 82 is really hanging it out there. That car got loose.
I'm surprised to see how much he's whipping it out there.
Yeah, that got pretty loose for him right there. So he could still lose it by any means. He's got a few turns to go before he gets to that start-finish line.
I'm not even going to say it.
Well, he's got about 3 or 4 more sets of turns to go, and he's going to be a winner again here in the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series. Pretty much stanking up the season as far as road courses go here in the Cup Series. He got it done as well in the Silverback Series last week to clinch his spot in those sets of playoffs. So he's got 2 playoffs to worry about. One he's not worried about right now is the Cup Series, as he is going to clinch his spot in the round of 10, taking the checkered flag at the Red Bull Ring.
It looks going to be 5 seconds over Causey. I have Schumacher unofficially here. Should be crossing the line in third. It looks like maybe 5th and 6th we might have a battle.
Yeah, Schaefer is going to be that third place driver if he's able to bring it around without looping it. I swear, ever since he's gotten in this black machine, he has been pretty unstoppable. So coming away with third place, you can chalk that up as a win for the 17. He's going to be moving on to the round of 10 as well. Lane Hostler, he's going to be the next car to come around here on the lead lap, the 61. Will come away with 4th place if he's able to get around this last turn. He does just that and heads towards the start-finish line. The battle for 5th, though, he's not done yet. Scott Healy has got a hungry Randy Nichols just behind him.
As these guys bend around here, they'll have a couple more corners. One big, this bottom right-hander. Justin Rideout locks him just a little bit in front of Healy, but he's able to clear it up, get out of the way, and let these guys race, and it looks like it's going to be Healy 5th.
Yep, so that's your 5th and 6th place, Healy, Nichols, and here comes Emerson Ardon to wrap up a 7th place run. Good run for the 57 and a 4th and 7th place in his last 2 weeks. That's got to feel good for Emerson Ardon. Seth Berger is going to come home 8th place in the Flood Brothers number 77 machine. Johan Seminario comes home 9th. Michael Politis right there, rounding out the top 10. That's your lead lap finishers here tonight. Everybody else coming home: Ryan Johnson 11th, Drew Ballesteros 12th, Timothy Latham in 13th, Brad Herman 14th, Brandon Domain comes home 15th, Rob Norfleet 16th, Scott Kalal in 17th, Justin Rideout 18th, Matthew Dula 19th, and Aaron Gerwitz, after spending 30 minutes on pit road, will come home in 20th. So there he is, Adrian Schumacher. He's already down to his celebration while we had some guys still finishing up this race.
Sitting there spinning them out, doing donuts as guys are still wrapping up, coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, you got to be careful about that sometimes, and I think he didn't interfere with anybody's lap too much, and that's going to wrap up his celebration as he gets it done for the European 120. Already named off the top 20 for you. And why not just jump right into the post-race interviews? Let's see if I can track down Reese Schaefer here in the Discord. There he is. It'll be easy tracking down everybody here, as it's a lot of tank racing drivers here tonight. So let's bring him on up, and let's talk to Reese Schaefer here on his 3rd place run tonight. Hey, Reese, welcome up here to the booth. You got Greg Olenek and Nick Halda joining you. Tell us about that race here tonight. A little bit of a unorthodox track here on a NASCAR circuit. What was your thoughts on it?
I loved it. I thought it was an absolute blast. This track being only 8 turns, it's really hard to find lap times. You really got to maximize your entries and exits and just keep your corner speed up. And we had the start of the race a little bit cause he got Adrian got obviously locked him up cause he hit him, cause he hit me, and I only had 10 seconds of damage. That was lucky. He hit the left front. I was like, oh god, here we go. We're gonna lose like a toe link or something. But got through that clean, and then I just started to focus, lock in, try to set my laps, and came away with a 3rd place finish. So we'll take it all day.
Absolutely. You kind of alluded to it a little bit. It's kind of the benefit and the joy of jumping into a league like SRN, where you're running the official series. You're probably not going to see Red Bull on an official series, but being able to be out here on a track like this with some of these high level competitors, it's kind of a fun little mix to be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It was I was really curious to see how the racing was, but even we were doing some practice sessions, like group practice sessions, and even the racing, like when people are close, it's really fun. You can the person that sends it in deep in the hairpin, you can cross them over and try to get them on the next turn, and even the S's and everything about the track is really fun. And I like that there's some easy parts, and then there's also like super technical parts, like the downhill turn, and the S's in the middle, they can be really technical, but then you get some other parts that are a little easier. So it's a great mix and balance. And honestly, I think the car is perfect for this track. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, hey, man, I take a little bit of pride in that, as I was tasked with searching for a setup for you guys. So hey, I didn't hear too many complaints, so I like hearing that.
No, it was amazing.
Great.
It was perfect.
Perfect. Well, got to thank Major's Garage for that. They hooked us up big time over here at SRN. But before we let you go here and celebrate a good run, and you're moving on to the round of 10, you got any friends, any sponsors, any family you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, for the sponsors, we got 100 On Anesthesia Associates, Healthcare Billing, 213 Simware, Invader Sim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, Burgarts. Man, our healthcare billing car has been quick all season, and been loving the road courses, and so keep up the good work. I want to thank Ben for spotting tonight. I want to thank all friends and family watching. Papa, I got my cousins watching, coworkers, everyone out there that loves supporting me. I appreciate them all. Their support means the world to me. So, and I also want to thank the amazing broadcasters for putting on a good show, as always. So.
Well, I mean, we got a little bit off topic here tonight, so you got to bear with us if you go back and watch it. But hey, we appreciate your family and everybody else watching the race here tonight. It was a fun one. It's always fun when you go to these new tracks and you don't know what to expect. So we'll send you back down to your teammates, and we'll see you next week out in Fontana.
Yep, appreciate you guys.
All right, so that was Reese Schaefer coming home in P3. Sounded pretty happy here after his run here tonight, so I have to imagine the next man we're going to talk to. He's going to be pretty happy as well. But I have to imagine, Nick, he's going to be a little upset too after a little bit of incident. He had the speed to get his teammate here tonight, but Joseph Causey comes home second. Joseph, I know it's going to eat at you. Are you going to lose sleep tonight?
I'm gonna try not to. I think if we had the speed to keep up with Adrian tonight and freaking make this a hell of a show, but it didn't work out that way. That first lap hurt me, and then after that, it was just playing catch up the whole rest of the race. Which, yeah, I'm proud of myself for catching up as much as I did. I was laying it down, trying to get caught back up, and I just, wasn't enough time.
These road course races, I was saying it during the broadcast, you got to kind of feel like Bill Murray a little bit on Groundhog's Day. It's kind of the same old story. Something happens early, and then you're playing catch up, trying to get there, just never able to really get all the way back. But still,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it looked like yourself and Randy Nichols really were the guys that kind of got shuffled back there with that early incident, and were the biggest ones to able to kind of drive the way back up to the center of the field.
Yeah, if it wasn't for my teammate Reese bumping me, straightening me out, I think it would have been worse. I think I would have went all the way around, but lucky there, my teammate bumped me straight, and then we were able to salvage, going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we just took a look at it right now, and you're exactly right. He pretty much straightened you right out. And, yeah, you would have totally been going all the way around. But nonetheless, I mean, you came into this week with not much pressure. 22 cars in the field. You knew you were moving on to the round of 10. So you were just out there having fun tonight. That had to help you in your race here tonight. But before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Gotta always thank Honey Press. Thank you for sponsoring me this year, or this season. Has been great. Hopefully we get to the end. We're gonna hopefully take this championship. Gotta thank everybody in Tank. Gotta also thank Hunter Don Anesthesia Associates, Healthcare Billing, 213 Simware, Invader Sim Designs, RJ Bishop Designs, Burgards, and gotta thank my spotter Miz. Helped me keep my head in the game after that spin and freaking making me get up there and hustle. And gotta thank the broadcasters. We'll definitely have to go back and watch.
You're not going to thank Pikachu? I got to ask you, what's going on with Pikachu on the side there?
It's part of the part of Honey Press. So I don't know exactly off the top of my head what it's a part of the things that are in part of the Honey Press store. So
Okay.
that's part of the deal with Pikachu. There's a Pokemon or something in there, and within Honey Press. So.
Well, I put all my cards out there. I explained to everybody how much I like Pokemon. So I was a big fan of the card.
The card's been great. We're 1-0. We're 1-1. Let's put it that way. 1 Kansas, so we're 1 here. Well, I thought we had a good shot to win it the second time. Go back to back, but it wasn't meant to be. Well, hopefully next week will be better. Well, Iowa, I did win it, but I think that was all luck last season.
Well, we'll see you next week when you get on out to Fontana. Have a good night, man, and have fun celebrating with the boys.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. So that was Joseph Causey coming home in P number 2. Well, let's get to the man of the hour. We had a feeling we'd be talking to him here tonight. Let's bring up Adrian Schumacher. I see him talking to the Tank Racing boys. We'll bring him on up here to the booth. Adrian, welcome up here. After your celebrations down there in Victory Lane, tell us what didn't go right here tonight for that 82 machine.
Yeah, I tried being a hero on the first corner and messed up. Don't feel too great about it. This one doesn't really feel deserving.
I mean, it was other than that one corner, though, it certainly looked deserving. You got out there and were just so consistent, and obviously a lot of practice because your lap times here, your best lap and the last lap, you were constantly in these 132s and not taking tires. You obviously had a certain pace you were looking to. If you could just maintain that, you'd be able to go all the way through.
Yeah, pace-wise, I was pretty happy with.
I mean, it looked good out there, and obviously you have no problem around the road courses. So coming into today, no surprise, you were the favorite. So congratulations once again, and hey, you've got a busy time here in these last couple of weeks, racing in 2 different playoffs in the Silverback Series as well as the Buttkicker Series. How are you managing all this right now?
Well, with work, basketball, and it definitely fills in the time slots.
Oh man, you are making it look good, and we'll see what you got tomorrow, or actually Thursday, with the Silverback Series heading out to Phoenix. But before we get you out there, who you got to thank here tonight?
I'd like to thank my family for watching tonight, and I'd like to thank Lakeside Marine, Chatham, Illinois, for making the season possible, and yeah, you guys for broadcasting, all the admins making this run smooth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, hey, man, we thank you for putting on a good show here tonight in that 82 machine. And like I said, we'll see you next week in Fontana. And, well, we'll see you Thursday, too, in the Silverback Series at Phoenix. Have a good night, man.
You guys too.
All right. Well, hey, Nick, you know what that means. It's time to hit the music because we are done here tonight for the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series. And I'm done for this week. We're going to have Sean Griffith the rest of the week, so I apologize ahead of time. But I've got a 4-year anniversary to celebrate with someone that has put up with me for 4 years, so I cannot get off the hook for that one on Thursday. But nonetheless, you got the original, the OG Sean Griffith and Brandon Domain on Thursday. You got him again tomorrow for the Team 18 Truck Series at Mid-Ohio. So like I said, next week the SRN Buttkicker Cup Series is going to head on out to Hollywood and battle out at Fontana. It's going to be a good one. One of my favorite tracks, Nick.
I think we'll have probably somewhere around 7-8 cars fighting for maybe only 4 or 5 spots.
And it's going to be a fight indeed. So definitely come on back and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell so you know exactly when we do go live. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. For myself, Nick, and everybody behind the scenes, we wish you guys a good night and go faster.
Stay.